Finally, what does the future hold as we go from now into, into 2014 and beyond? You've got to begin to motivate your key opinion leaders. You have to identify the differences between their expectations and what you can really do. Because the one thing I do know with medical affairs groups is that they're being asked to do more and more inside the companies, and that doesn't always just correlate directly with an increase in budget that you can spend. And so you've got to be able to begin to prioritize what you're going to do and look for the value of the things that really matter inside your own organization, but also with the key opinion leaders that you're working with. So as we wind down at the end now, I want you to begin to think about how access to KOLs has tightened and has evolved in the last several years. And I think you can begin, just one way of looking at it is think about the President's Oval Office. Back in the early days, anyone could really go into the office, have access to the President's back in the time before, or back in the time when Franklin Roosevelt was in office. Now, getting access to the President requires highly thought out credential checks of people, and they have to go through a plethora of security checks. They also have to get very finite time to meet with those people. And the reality for me is I think that's what's taking place with the pharma industry and KOLs now. It's not an open revolving door anymore, so you've got to know what you're going to say, how you're going to say it, when you're going to present to them, and be ready to move through those things. And it comes down ultimately to this time of uncertainty that we're sitting in. So you have to have these clear structured plans that I've been talking about of how you expect to use not only your MSLs, but anyone else who's going to come in contact with your key opinion leaders. And the one thing I will say is where there's fear and uncertainty, there's also opportunities that are created for companies to come in and surpass their peers if they begin talking and putting plans in place early on and addressing issues head on that they're having to deal with when it comes to key opinion leaders and how you're going to work with them. So the challenges that are out there is the competition for resources. Everyone has limited access. Everyone wants that access. How are you going to beat out your peers to get, on that small window of opportunity to talk to the key opinion leaders? What can you do that's going to make you stand out? I would tell you that you need to make it not about your company, but you need to make it about the opinion leaders you're working with. Find out what drives them and what they find important, and work to make sure you're meeting that, and you're going to get the opportunities to meet with them. We've spoken a lot already about market and regulatory changes. There's a lot going on. You have to be aware. You have to begin to meet these things head on. I don't think as an organization that pharma companies and medical device companies can sit back and when things are announced and ignore them for a while and then have to scramble, as a lot of companies were doing when it came to the Sunshine Act and figuring out how they were going to collect the information and share it back out. And you just have to begin to meet these things head on as early as you can, and I think that's going to ultimately give you the value. And then just ultimately, internal issues can be the biggest grinder when it comes to halting the wheels of progress. You have to make sure that you have an understanding inside your company of what is being sought to be done. You have to put the resources toward the work, and you really need to make sure that everybody understands the expectations that sit out there that you have to come forward and deliver on a day-to-day basis. And I think where you can begin to focus these are, as we were already talking, are there new tools and tactics out there that can be used to bring KOL management to higher degrees of success? Who are you going to use in the roles? Are they going to have new activities or responsibilities that set in place for them as they're doing this work? And then ultimately, last, you're going to be always responding to new conditions. And what I've been talking about, you have to make it personalized, individualized to each of your key opinion leaders. There isn't a one-size-fits-all method that's going to get you the type of response that you want, and you have to make it about scientific exchanges of information and not just about your products and what is out there.